let's flip a coin. Head Carolina, tails California, somewhere greener, somewhere warmer.
Okay, this is Andy Graham of hoboontheroad.com, and I'm going to ask, Ken was asking what a good extension cord was for travel. He showed me one and it was quite good, but I'm going to show you mine right now that I'm using right now. I'm in Europe and I can't really carry a big one, but you can, well, let me show you first. These are the things I got plugged in. This is my battery charger. I got 4 batteries in it. This is my Kindle I got plugged in. And this is the fridge, okay? I'll unplug the fridge here, if I can do it without getting shocked. Okay, sometimes you only have one plug in a room, right? So you're trying to do it. This is my Kindle, and I'm always charging my batteries, okay? And I also have a cell phone, right? Let me get it. Okay, it has some kind of strange special adapter on it. It's a Samsung, I don't know, Junior or something like that. And so I got at least 4 plus my computer. Okay. Now I have my computer plugged in over here on the wall. So I have 2 plugs here. The point is, and what I did is I did a video the other day where I said I need these things. So this is a special adapter that has, let's see if I can get a good look at this. This has the ability to take a slotted or a round plug. Okay, and right now, as you can see, the only way for me to get my fridge stayed in plugged in here, it has a round plug. So I needed a special plug. Now the one Ken showed had a plug like this on it. So he had a roll of 6 of them, and then a surge protector and all sorts of stuff. It was $25, and but the problem was with the cord is it had this kind of ending on it. Now the problem with this is this round piece right here. This round piece can be all different configurations through Europe. So what you really don't want is all this exterior stuff here. All you want is something that goes in and gets plugged in. Now sometimes you can't get these things plugged in and they have a special thing that hits the ground fault interrupter or whatever to make sure that, like, see that little thing there? That's probably the ground fault, the ground. And you have to put a pencil in there or something like that to do it. Sometimes you have to do it. I think in Holland I needed to have this kind of plug to get it to go in. But generally I can just get this to go right inside the indentation of the wall. Now let me show you the indentation. I have actually, this has a taped on piece, but you can see that that's indented, right? Well, you don't want to have anything that has to fit into that special slot. That slot may be special to the country, but the round, you know how we have slotted, this is round, right? This is just the thing. Now India has about the same kind, but a little bit wider, I think. But you can kind of force these things to work. I really see there's 3 major types of plugs on the planet. There's this one, the American slotted, then the British one, which is a really weird one. Okay, it's very special. And you have to, you can use one of these, but you have to then use a pencil to get the ground fault thing to release itself so it'll go in. But the point is I have a lot of devices, right? And the reason why I have this special plug here is because it has 2 of the American slotted and then 1 of the double slotted. This will take American, so I could have 4 American devices. But if I accidentally need a refrigerator one, I have it, right? So You think that when you're traveling that you're going to just use. This is why I was making a joke the other day about the universal travel adapter. So the universal travel adapter really doesn't do you much good when you have 4 devices, right? So you're going to have to buy 4 of them to get it to work. Really what you need is one and then a splitter, right? Which is your extension cord. A universal travel adapter without the way to plug in 4 or 5 devices doesn't do you much good. So I can plug in 4 things at one time. Now generally you got to be real careful because each one of these little connections within the line, so you have this going into the wall, then you have it connected. Each of them creates a hot point, a jump point, and they get hot. So when I try to plug my computer directly into the wall, right? You can see it's directly into the wall. I don't really want that to be arcing, okay? And even though you have a ground fault interrupter or a surge protector or whatever on your cord, it's not, to me, it's not normally that's going to cause the problem. It's going to be the arcing when you accidentally plug it in. When you plug it into the thing, it makes a jump. Suddenly do it. This is 220 or 110, right? I don't know what I have in this country. It doesn't really matter because all my devices are 110, 220, so I hardly ever know. But my point is that what you really want is that, Ken, what you need is that box with 6 plugs on it like this, which is fine. And then, but it takes up a lot of room. That's why I bought this special one. It doesn't take up as much room. And then you want a slotted on the end or one of these on the end. You don't want this big fat plug, okay? That big fat plug is going to cost. So you could take that one and cut this off and put a regular slotted American plug on there, and you'd be okay. Now the bad part about these, a lot of these, they'll show these really fancy 6 outlet plugs with all this stuff and they're pretty heavy cord. And the reason why the cord is heavy is because it's very low gauge wires, like a 16 or 18 gauge or 20 gauge wire, and they put a lot of insulation on it so that it doesn't overheat and burn up. And what I have at home, which I didn't bring with me now, is a 14 gauge wire with 4 of the plugs, like you know the correct kind. It'll take either the German round or the American slotted, and it has four different plug-ins. The reason why it's a 14 gauge is because it's heavier duty. It is smaller, but it's then about 3 meters long. And I carry this in all the other countries besides Europe. I'm wanting to sell this specific thing I'm having right here, but I'd really like to have it with a 8-foot cord on it, because otherwise you're relying on the cord from your computer to the wall or your light to the wall. See, normally I carry a light with me too. So, but you can see that you're going to be sharing plugs too. You're not just going to get to be able to plug in your device. You're going to be pulling something out of the wall, like the television. I have a television up here. I could be pulling the cord out of the television and then replacing it with my plug, and then I need to plug the television in again or the refrigerator in again. There's just so many combinations. So you need really what the modern digital nomad probably needs is 6 extra outlets. Normally. Now you see I've been selling on the thing a little device that you plug into the light bulb. You screw into the light bulb, special African light bulb, and then you put one of these things in the side, and that makes a plug, and then you could then add on the 4 splitter, and you got a lot of connections here. It's going to overheat and it'll burn up these plugs, especially if you use a hot plate like me sometimes. When I use a hot plate, I try to plug it directly into the wall. But these are the concerns you have with a electrical plug. It's not just your one device. It's 4 or 5 devices. And therein lies the problem. It's the modern person doesn't have one electronic device. They have at least a smartphone, maybe a computer, and other things that they need to plug in. I'm here in a dorm. I'm in a hostels here in Europe, and you know, obviously, if you got 10 people in a room and you got 3 plugs, guess what happens? There's not enough plugs for all the people to plug their smartphones in, and so they're. If I actually plug mine into the wall, they might pull mine out and plug theirs in. That's why I even have the extension cord, because they'll share that as opposed to just being a jerk and pulling mine, unplugging mine and plugging theirs in. It's not an easy solution, guys, but this is the best device I've ever seen, although I don't think this is a 14 gauge wire on the inside, but the wire's short, so there's less distance for it to overheat on, less resistance. Ken, the one you're buying is good. You just need to take this plug off and replace it, and realize that even though it's got all this fancy, what do you call it, surge protector or ground fault and all this stuff, it really is probably not heavy enough to carry 4 devices. The wire is not actually big enough gauge inside. It's probably an 18 or 20 gauge. You need to get clear on what gauge wire. And a lot of these are made in China, and you're not, you know, they're going to talk in millimeters or something like that, and it's really hard. You got to convert it. But the ideal one would be 14 gauge, and this is called an octopus plug. They sell them in America, but they don't really sell it with that universal German and American slotted one at the same time. They just show 4 American ones. I like this because I can actually put it inside my my camera bag or my computer bag easy, and it kind of bundles up like that. But the next problem you have is when there's 2 people in the room, right? And then you're going to have even more devices. And about 80% of the travelers right now are going as pairs, and they're going 2 people at a time, sharing a room. So it just keeps going. So my point in a lot of this is that universal travel adapter is really not going to work. You get better at just learning how to go into a hardware and buy these things. I'm hoping to someday sell these soon. I'm having trouble stocking all this stuff because I don't have enough money to buy all this stuff and put it into inventory. And I have to buy enough that I could sell for a long period of time. So I'm trying to come up with enough money to do all this stuff and sell these products that you really need. Because what I would do is sell you 3 of these. These 3 of these would do you for half the planet, okay? And an American person. You know, the Germans are going to have trouble in America, right? They need the reverse kind. It goes into the slotted. I carry both. You know, but the ideal thing would be to have 3 of this that converts a round to a slotted, or no, a slotted to a round, and then 3 of these that comes out with a slotted end instead of the round end. I carry a little bit of everything in my normal backpack, but I had to really lighten up for Europe, so I'm a little bit having to innovate a lot here. I have to adapt a lot more, and because like I'm going to get on 2 Ryanairs and a Wizz. By the time I leave, I'll be on 4 or 5. I got a flight going to 2 Ryanairs. I can't carry all this weight, and so it's all about weight. You can see though that the other day I showed how I taped this right on the end so I wouldn't lose it, because this is good as gold. Now I got one print. I got 3 of them. I got one on my extension cord, I got one on my computer cord, and I got an extra one. Okay, Andy Graham, Hobo Traveler, talking about electrical cords for travel.